Wow. All right, good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday AM Mindful Storyteller Circle. My name is Halona Black. I am the facilitator of our group. We meet every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern US time. And we do so to be able to use journaling, meditation, and just our general discussion to be able to help us to figure out what it is that we're doing in our lives that's to be more creative, to be more expressive, and to be able to sort of share that experience with other people who are interested in doing the same. So thank you so much. I appreciate you all for coming in. I'm really happy when I see you all come in every week. When I started this, I really just thought it was just going to be me talking to talking to the screen. Recorded myself talking to the screen, talking about some journaling prompts. But I appreciate you all for making a commitment to show up every week. I really do. And so today's topic, we're doing a review for ourselves for the year. Whether or not you had any pre-planned goals set up for yourself, it doesn't really matter. Excuse me, but we can still join us to be able to just sort of talk about how it is that our particular year is going. Ms. Woods, how are you? Welcome.
Hi everyone, good morning. I'm doing well. How about yourselves?
All right, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So we're talking about our goal setting for the year. And whether or not you've actually set any goals for this year doesn't really matter. We just want to be able to have some time to review where our lives are at this point. We're almost at the end of June, which will complete the first 6 months of the year. And usually when it comes to goal setting or reviewing the goals or reviewing how the year has gone, we wait until the end of the year or first of the year to actually look at it. There's a lot of time that passes during that sort of time period. So um, I actually like to do goal setting or reviewing of goal setting probably every month, but I think as a group, it would be fun to exercise, just to sort of do it together at the 6 month point to sort of see how we're doing, because then we'll have another 6 months to be able to either one, appreciate what it is that we're doing and do more of it, or move on and change some of our behaviors without any sort of judgment um, or feeling bad about how the rest of our lives have gone. So here comes Ms. Latanda. Ms. Latanda, welcome. Thank you for coming in today.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to start off today with just sort of a few minutes of a grounding meditation. So what I usually do when we do meditation is I will cut off my own video just so that we can focus on ourselves. I take my glasses off just so I can take the focus off of my natural eyes and just sort of go inward.
Halona, you're muted.
I'm sorry. You can place your hands in a space on your lap or in a space wherever it feels most comfortable for you. And you also want to be able to make sure that you're sitting up straight without it being too uncomfortable. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. If not, you can also just sort of lower your gaze a bit if that feels safer for you. And then we start with just a few cleansing breaths. We'll do 3 cleansing breaths. And what you want to do is I will tell you to breathe in through the back of the heart, breathe out through the front of the heart. We'll do that 3 times. So starting, we breathe in through the mouth for as far as you can take it, in through the heart, out through the front of the heart. That's 1 breath. Once again, we breathe in through the back of the heart, and breathe out through the front of the heart. One last time, we breathe in through the back of the heart. Breathe out through the front of the heart. And through that breathing exercise, hopefully you're starting to feel a bit more settled and grounded into your space. Pay attention to how your shoulders, where your shoulders are. Are your shoulders a bit more relaxed? Is your neck feeling a bit more relaxed? Check in with your facial muscles. Are your facial muscles a bit more relaxed after taking a few cleansing breaths? And when you're ready, you can open up your eyes. And if you'd like, you can turn your video back on. So we're doing a review of the last 6 months. I talked about before we started the meditation that it's important to do a review of your year. I like to do it every 30 days. But six months into the year is as great as any time. Just because it just gives us space to be able to figure out how it is that we've sort of done this year, not in a way that sort of makes us feel like I don't know. I think a lot of goal setting projects are often done in the spirit of, if you didn't meet your goals, then you need to be able to punish yourselves. One of the things that I've really learned about your goals is that we often look at our goals as we did when we were kids. If you didn't meet the expectations that were put upon you, often by some other authority figure, either your parents or some other parental authority, and then you grew up and you went to work. You have your job or your employer who would tell you what to do, where you got to be, when you got to do things. Then one of two things would happen if you didn't meet your goals. You would either run away from your goals. You would, it's sometimes that might look like as a kid, you might lie about what you did. Um, yeah, you might lie about what it is that you did, or just, all right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Something happened to the internet. So I had to switch to my phone internet. So hopefully that'll work for the rest of the hour. So I was talking about goal setting, and we usually, when we do goal setting, we either we start lying about what it is that we did, or we start to perform our goals. And what I would like us to be able to do is to realize that we're all adults. And the reason that we do the goal setting is so that we can actually improve our lives. We don't have to actually share these goals with other people unless you choose to. You want to be able to find a group of people who can support you through your goals, who can actually support you through moving your goals from one end to the other. Um, But it's also just important to be able to feel like you can be honest with yourself about where you are with your goals without, judgment or feeling like you have to punish yourself. Because that's all a part of our growing up process. And one of the things that I remember, I guess I call it my own personal growing up process. When I first left to go overseas, I went to Thailand for some months, and I spent 6 months doing a I spent 6 months doing a detox process. Did the 6 months, lost some weight, had some really great results. I moved on to a different country. And then of course, when I moved on to the different country, I, found a store that had all the old stuff that I really love to eat. They had all the Oreo cookies and all sorts of other stuff that I really wanted to eat. And so I would start to eat all the stuff, and what I would notice is that, I was starting to gain the weight back. Of course, makes that makes sense. But what happened was that I ate so much of the other things that my digestive system just sort of started to shut down on itself, to the point where I just got really sick, and it was just really painful to move and to get. It took me like 30 minutes just to be able to move and get out of bed. It was terrible. And so I spoke with the person who had helped me with the detox, and the first thing he asked me was, "Well, what's going on? What happened? Why are you feeling this way? What's causing you to start to gain some of your weight back?" And I said, "Well, it's the stuff that I ate. I put it in my mouth, of course." And then he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." He said, "You're not the same person that you were when you started, because when I, ask you questions about how it is that you came to be able to gain the weight in the first place, you weren't honest with yourself. And so now at this point, you know, you're able to be honest about where you are, so that when you're honest about where you are, it's much easier for you to be able to move forward." So that's what we're going to do today. So if you have a piece of paper, or just a random loose piece of paper, or if you have a journal page, that would be great. You could take that out and just take out it could be in the notebook. You don't have to tear it out if you don't choose to. And what you're going to do is you're going to break it up into 6 boxes. So if you can just draw lines in it so that you have the whole full page, and put 6 lines in it. Or I'm sorry, 6 boxes in it. So something like this, if you can see it. Oh, you can't see it anyway. Oh, I think my settings, but you know how to make almost like a tic-tac-toe box. You know how to be able to draw 6 boxes. And then each box, what you're going to do is put the name of the month from January to June. So January gets 1 box, February gets another box, March gets the 3rd box, April, May, and June. And then we're just going to spend a few minutes writing down just what you can remember. What were the events that happened during each month? It doesn't have to be, a long list. Just a couple of notes of what it is that you can remember off of the top of your head. If there's a month that you can't really remember, just jot that down as well. I don't really remember what happened in February. I'm not really sure. Just make a quick note of what happened for you during that month. So we'll spend about 3 minutes doing that. Okay, so we got about 1 minute left. Okay. So as you finish that up, think about, for discussion, I wanted to talk about what it is that we felt was most rewarding and or most challenging during the first 6 months of the year. If anybody wants to share what's been most rewarding and or challenging during the first 6 months. You can talk about one thing. For me, it's been starting a circle. This was actually a student assignment. I went to a coaching program to study how to teach people, how to be able to train people how to do meditation. And I think the assignment was given to us in like February-ish. And we were only supposed to do like maybe 6 sessions with people. But here we are all the way in June and I'm still doing it. It was actually an idea to be able to combine my writing, teaching how to be able to write along with, or expressive writing, I should be specific, along with meditation, just because I think that those are just two powerful tools for people to be able to use to be able to move their life forward. And so I just decided to keep doing it. And if I'm not mistaken, of all the classmates that I still keep up with on somewhat of a regular basis, I'm really the only one that's still doing this project. So thank you all for continuing to show up every week. But if anybody wants to discuss what's been most rewarding or even challenging during the first 6 months of the year, I would love to hear it.
I'd like to discuss.
Sure.
I made a promise to myself in 2023, as we were leaving that year, that I would re-strategize how I present myself as a holistic health practitioner, and that I would take free off the table, except for when I really, 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 when it was personal to me, like if I wanted to serve the homeless, or if I wanted to do it, not someone telling me that this is the only way you're going to do it. You have to do it for free. And I also decided to include being a guest on different people's podcasts as my marketing tool. Both of those strategies have are worth their weight in gold. They began to work immediately. So I was able to present a proposal upon request to the Brooklyn Public Library and got my ask for four-part series. And then the things that I do for free, I invested in learning how to do the 5-point acupuncture for substance abusers or substance users, I should say. And so that's my freebie. I volunteer. However, it has turned into a paid assignment. Sometimes I get paid.
Mhm.
So those two strategies stayed out of my mind. So I wouldn't say that I'm struggling at all because the worm has turned. The worm has turned, you know.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
That's good to hear. Because I'm thinking of a friend in particular who's having an issue with her health, and she attributes it to the fact that she's given so much over many, many, many years of
Mhm.
being a holistic practitioner, and now she's having issues with her heart.
Mm, that rings accurate.
Hmm.
Mhm. Because she's been pulling in all of those energies
Yeah.
through her heart and has overtaxed it. And another thing that I've taken up is the study. Well, I'm going to begin to pursue it. Is the study of Yoruban herbal healing, mainly because it focuses on protection of the mind, body, and spirit.
Hmm.
Not so much to become a Yoruban priestess, but to know the ways and some of our ancestral habits.
Hmm. Yeah, it's good to be able to realize that a lot of these things, um, like I originally learned about meditation from being in Asia.
Mhm.
But as I continue my study, I learned that really these parts of mindfulness and meditation are really in probably almost every indigenous culture on the planet. So connecting those practices to cultures that you identify with, I think is important. Because when you just do it, when you just do it, I guess the Western way, you get taught how the practice of how to do the thing, how to be able to share what it is that you want to be able to offer, but nobody teaches you how to be able to protect your own energy.
Right. And the Asian and Hindu practices, I've explored them quite a bit.
Mhm.
So now I want to explore my own even more. I've been doing it all along, but
That's awesome. That's exciting to hear. Thank you for sharing that. What about anyone else? What's been rewarding, most rewarding, or even challenging for you?
I like to share. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Ms. Woods. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So, most rewarding for me has been traveling. I started house sitting at the end of 2023, but it started my extended house sitting outside of my hometown in January through June. So I just got back home in June. Um, and then also I had a part-time contract job where I was working with this organization that talks about the nervous system. So it's really cool um, which I had just started at the end of 2023, to learn about the nervous system and incorporate that. I'm also a holistic wellness practitioner. And so that helps inform. I also like science too. So finding the intersection has been great. What was most challenging was pet sitting. Um, Things you learn what works and what doesn't work for you, and really having experienced it, seeing that it's a very individualized experience for every person. And so what you may learn about it through other people's experiences may not be may not vibe for you in the same way. So that it has some challenges. And also it's one of those like catch 22s where it also put me in places and spaces where I was able to access some really good things. So that's why traveling was very rewarding. Um, and then that part-time job, contract work that I had, I was let go. It was just a lot of things going on. I don't, it's just complicated is the answer. I don't think I did anything wrong. And that's why it was really, I think I could have done some things better. I know I could have done some things better in terms of communicating with people, but also I think uh, there were issues on the other end as well. And so just honestly, it comes down to it wasn't a good fit. Um, but even then, again, having had that experience, it was really rewarding because I got to learn what I got to learn during that time there. Um, but it's also just hard to receive, I guess that like disappointment, what you were talking about earlier, when people who have somewhat some like power decide that like you're not fit or worthy of being in their space, when really you just trying to help them be better, but So anywho, that's my side story that I need to keep to myself.
No, I'm glad that you shared that because we often do, and I've done that a million times. When people tell you, no, or you think that they are telling you that you are like their review of your performance is somehow telling you who you are, or whether or not you're worthy. At least for me, I think I grew up feeling really needy and having to prove myself all the time.
Mhm.
And so, unless we have an experience that sort of yanks us out of that, feeling that way towards ourselves, it's sort of difficult to be able to unlearn that practice. So you got a nice, I don't know how long you were there, but you got a nice time to be able to learn whatever it is that you need to learn, and you can move on. It's all
Yep,
right.
yep. And I honestly think it was just divine timing because I've been able to focus my energy back on my business, and some things have just the energy is shifting, and so I'm excited about what's next for my business as opposed to putting so much of my energy into somebody else's business.
Yeah, that's always the upside.
Mhm.
So you get to house it, you got more time, you get to travel.
Yeah, not a good
Anyone
thing.
else? Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Ms. Woods.
I'll share if that's okay.
Sure, Brenda. Thank you.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. So the most rewarding for me this past 6 months has been trying new things and getting more insight on my health. So those two kind of go hand in hand. In the beginning of the year, um, I went to visit my mom. She lives in DR. I'm in New York, and it's been quite a while. And she was just like, "You've gotten so skinny and small. Like, I need to feed you." And I was like, "Yes, please do feed me." Um, and I was having kind of insecurities about how much weight I've lost through COVID and post COVID, but hearing your mom's reaction was like, "Oh my goodness," So that kind of put me on a a journey of trying to figure out, what happened with my relationship to food, and why, why I'm not cooking as much, and just discovering that, and getting myself back healthy from the inside out. And I wanted to pair that with movement. So I got a personal trainer, and I was like, this isn't really working for me. Like, why? And then I realized that it just wasn't for me. Like, everyone has their own activity or movement that works for them and their body. And that for me has always been dance. And for some reason, I just was like, well, I'll do this because that's what everyone does. And, and so I started dance again this past month. So I think this past 6 months, I was just trying to rediscover all the things that make me happy. Um, and the most challenging has been biting off more than I could chew. So instead of just kind of gently, treading the waters of these new things, I would just go all in and take up more than I can handle, and then end up being upset with myself because it didn't work. When really, had I kept the mindset of I'm trying to discover, take things slow and be okay with the possibility that it might not work and that not be a reflection of you failing. So it took, that full circle for me to come back to dance. I love my body more. Like, I'm not criticizing it when I look in the mirror, and I think it's because I'm dancing. So I'm realizing the things about my body that I love when I dance, like my hips, and it's much deeper. Whereas with personal training, it doesn't allow me to be in tune with my body as much. Their focus is different, and it's just not aligned with essentially who I am. So yeah, that's been my most rewarding and most challenging things these past 6 months.
I'm
Thank
glad, I'm
you.
glad you got the time to be loved up on by your mother. That's always beautiful. And it's nice that I'm connecting your connection to your mother, and then, all of this discovery that you're finding, um, with what works for your body at the same time. I think for women and girls, we get our first sense of, our first sense of self and how comfortable we are in our bodies from our mothers. So I think that that's notable in what it is that you said, and being able to find a deeper connection to how you treat your body with the food that you eat and the activities that make you feel good about yourself. Because all of those things are important. We always get told that, the only thing usually that we can do if we're serious about losing weight or being healthy is eating a certain type of food and going to the gym. When really there's a million ways to be able to do it, for us to be able to feel good about our bodies. So that's really important as well. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
I wanted to do the second question. Is the year moving as you expected? Is the year moving as you expected? Why or why not? And we can journal about that one for a few minutes. We'll take another minute. Okay. So is the year moving as you expected? Yes or no? For me, I think when I just moved to Mexico. I've been in Mexico about 6, maybe 7 months now. And I think, I don't know, I'm not really sure what I expected. Um, as far as, I think I had a clearer vision in my mind as far as where it is, how it is that I wanted to be settled. And here I am 6 months later, and I still feel like I'm trying to settle on where it is, where it is that I would like to be able to be. I think what I have as far as like my apartment and things are fine. They feel fine for me. But the process of feeling settled and wanting to be settled is hard. It's like it's just taken forever. Whereas before, I can just sort of just move on to the next country if I wanted to. I don't really want to move on to the next country. I kind of really want to settle in Mexico, but then the process of feeling settled in Mexico is a process in and of itself. So I'm in Playa del Carmen now, but I've started out in Merida for 3 months because I was um, subletting an apartment there for friends. And then I moved to Oaxaca for a few months, which is very different climate and weather. And it was too dry. I couldn't it was too dry. I was drinking a gallon of water and eating watermelon and papaya all over the place. And my skin was just dry. I couldn't speak. It was too much. And then the elevation was too much. And then I moved to Playa, and it's so hot here. The heat and humidity is something it's something to get used to. And when you're 47 years old and you're in perimenopause, it's just a lot to do. So yeah, so trying to get settled, I guess the process of feeling settled is a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. Um, so I'm learning how to deal with that. So if anyone else would like to share, is the year moving as you expected?
I'll share.
Sure.
Not at all. I think I
Oh,
started the year. I tried to like not have goals so I could see what would happen, but I still had some expectations. So like I joined a couple of business programs um just to realize I don't really care about business. Um at least not in the way I guess it's been traditionally done or something how I've always done it. Um I thought, I would move forward in my spiritual journey in a particular way, just to leave my spiritual house. Like, so nothing is really like everything that, yeah, I feel like maybe I should just keep with the no expectations. Because it seems like, in December I said, oh, okay, I'm going to do this thing and didn't expect that. And then March I joined another program and I'm going to do this thing. And so yeah, I feel like I'm going for a ride and we're gonna see where we end up.
yeah, I'm learning that as well. Whatever you thought you planned, be prepared to let it go.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing.
I'll share next.
Yes.
Is my year moving expected? So I'm really not sure if it's moving as I expected because in some areas it's like blown out the water. And then in other areas it's like in the pits of hell. So I don't know where the happy medium is. But what I will say is that as far as wanting to be one of my main goals was to be healthier. I was having issues with my liver numbers. Say for instance, if your liver is supposed to be a 1 and mine was like and 4 is bad, I was a 3. And so now I'm like 1.5. Like I'm so close. So that is exciting that I'm so close and I'm almost there. So that part is really exciting. And it's better than I expected because I wasn't expecting the things that I've been doing for all this time to just finally like pop, right? So, but then I've also started to write again. And I wasn't expecting to start writing. It wasn't even like you say on my bingo card. It just kind of, it's the one thing that that I've always done, but I didn't enjoy doing. But I took this writing class like for writers of color. And the one thing that the teacher taught me was that I can use my voice and like how I want to write without expectations. Um, and by giving me that freedom, I fell in love with the thing that I was running from. And so now the writing flows where like I'm writing 6 to 10 pages when I sit down, where before I was struggling to write 250 words. So that's better than expected. But then financially, like in some ways financially, I'm spending more money than what I'm supposed to. And I'm just like, okay, Cheryl, you got this like for real. So now I'm actually sitting down with my little pen and paper, like old school budgeting again, because I stopped. So I guess I don't know if it's better than in some areas it's better than expected, and some areas it's not, and some areas haven't even been touched, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. So again, the expectation is to have no expectations. Just let it go and see what lands. Let's see, we have a few more minutes. How do you want the next 6 months to look and feel for you? And we have a few, let's see, we have a few moments left. We'll do another 2 minutes for that one. All right, so how do you want the next 6 months to look and feel for you? If anybody wants to share, how do you want the next 6 months to look and feel for you?
Well, the seeds that I've planted can only yield a good harvest. So I'm just gonna not tug at the sprouts. I'm just gonna let it grow. Yeah.
That's a beautiful way of looking at it. That you've spent the first 6 months planting certain seeds,
Yeah.
and you're gonna see what's gonna come of it.
Yes.
Continue to do the same.
Mhm. Because my original goal was to give this new strategy a whole year
Mhm,
of attention.
mhm.
So we're at the halfway mark.
And you feel like it's going well for you. Great.
Mhm.
Anyone else, how do you want the next 6 months to look and feel for you? What's your vision for your next 6 months? For me, I'm just allowing more space to discover, to have less expectations of what it is that I thought my life was supposed to look at this point, and just sort of paying attention to what is, and to see what it is that I like. Like, when you had, like, you spend a few years doing certain activities, and you have your routine, and you feel settled in your routine and where you are. But then you go to someplace else and you find out that you have to create a whole new routine. And sometimes you feel a bit of disappointment in yourself for not being able to hold yourself to the old routine. But I'm learning that sometimes it's best just to be able to learn how to let some of those routines go, and sort of discover, where else it is that life is trying to lead me towards, so that I can be open and aware to what else is happening in my life for me. What else is there for me to learn? And there's always something for all of us to be able to learn. But if you're so stuck on doing all the old stuff, you'll never really get to the thing that you want to learn. Anybody else? We have another couple of minutes before we close out.
I really like what you said about being open to new routine. That really resonates with me, because I've kind of been doing that, like opening myself up and being flexible, and accepting that I don't have to stay stuck in old stuff. Just because I did something for 12 years doesn't mean that I have to continue to do it. And it's just such a liberating way of flowing through life, is to be open to new routines. So that really resonated with me. So thank you for sharing that.
No, thank you.
Mhm.
It is liberating to be able to know that you can do new things. You're not beholden to any stuff that sort of left you and who you used to be.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's the top of the hour. I think there was one last question that I wanted to ask. And you can sort of take this last question with you as we move on with the day. What needs to happen to make your vision a reality?
Ooh.
What needs to happen?
Excuse me.
What needs to happen to make your vision a reality? You can just sort of jot that down in your notebook or your journals. This is the top of the hour, and we can go ahead and close out the circle. Thank you so much for being here for another Wednesday AM Mindful Storyteller Circle. Again, we do meet here for the people who are watching the replay. I put the replays on YouTube. Yeah, so you can sort of catch up with with some of the older circles that we've done. And thank you so much for showing up. I hope you come back again and join us next week, next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Enjoy your day.
You too.